Hey guys, it's Helen Hart-Smith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Hope you're having a good day. I am. That was kind of a little too cutesy even for me. Anyhow, I'm here to film my video for the 2018 Master Spell. This is for Leo. So you know what, if you watch these, then you know what comes first, right? What comes first is the little piece of paper that has all the correspondence stuff on it. So let's do that, and then we can talk about the realness of the situation. So this is the Leo video. And so if you are born between July 23rd and August 22nd, congratulations, you're a Leo. Leo, the planet that is connected with Leo is the sun. And so the planet properties that are connected with the sun are creativity, fatherhood, and success. Just some interesting stuff there. It is a fire sign. So like Aries and Sagittarius, Leo is a fire sign, and it's also fixed in its qualities. Now, when it comes to, it's so interesting how all of this kind of plays out with, I encourage anyone to do master spell work, because inevitably you get some crazy synchronicity stuff that happens. So the stone, and I'll get into why and as we continue on here. So the stones that are associated with Leo are citrine, topaz, diamond, and amber. For the flowers and herbs that are associated, we've got marigold, sunflower, which I think is so perfect, hops, cowslip, and frankincense. And then finally, the colors that go with Leo are gold, red, yellow, and orange. All of those fiery sun-like qualities. And I see that I may or may not have some smudgy mascara under my eyes. Sorry about that. So perseverance. That's the name of the game this year with the Master Spell. And let's talk about like how things are going for me. I never would have guessed in a million years that this year is panning out the way that it is. I don't like to dwell on it or keep bringing it up or anything like that. But I had a loss this year, and it is, I knew that this was going to be a process, this grieving thing. But it's a lot harder than I thought it was, guys. I mean, the lethargy and the unmotivation and, just being tired. It's tough. Well, and that's how the grief is manifesting for me. And so I'm trying to keep this perseverance alive in the back of my mind, while on the other side, knowing that I have this grieving process that I have to go through. And so I'm trying to navigate the two of them. And I have good weeks and I have really, really crappy weeks. So I'm trying to, while I'm having a good week, I'm trying to, maybe record a couple of videos ahead so that I've got it for a week where it's crappy and I don't feel like doing anything. Just because I don't, there's commitments that I've set up for myself. And so, yeah, it's crap. And not to give it like any more life or anything like that. But I struggle. And anyone who has suffered loss is going to understand that. And I think we all have suffered loss in some form or another. Some is greater than another. So I think we can all kind of understand where I'm coming from. in this. And so when it came to what kind of spell work I wanted to work this month, I knew that I needed to kind of go deep. I knew that I needed to kind of dig in, and I needed to give me something that was a little more palpable and a little bit more physical, maybe. Something that I could, work with not just this month, but as I continue through the rest of this year. And so I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to come up with a sigil that I could use for lots of things. And so what I did was my favorite form, there's lots of forms of sigil making out there. And so I encourage you to kind of look into it. It's something that early on in my practice, on my path, I didn't really get it or understand it or want to work for it or anything like that. But now that I've, kind of been doing this for some time, I've come to understand the importance of symbology and having a symbol or a sigil or something like that that speaks to me about a subject or something that I want to manifest, or standing for something rather than writing something out. I'm not a drawer. Unfortunately, I did not get the artistic gene when it came to drawing in my family. My brother totally got that, and he's awesome. And so I'm super happy for him. I have other talents. But I have come to find out that sigil making, it allows me to draw in a sense, without having the complications that are involved in I can't draw. So, like I said, there's lots of sigils that are out there. If you're interested in asatru or heathenry, there's a lot of sigil stuff that's out there. And if you're interested in kind of learning about some ancient sigil work, then I would highly suggest checking out Icelandic Magic by Stephen Flowers, I believe is his name. I read that book recently, and I believe that I did a video review of the book. I think I'm remembering correctly. And if that's true, I'll try to remember to put a link in that book, or a link in the description box for that video. Sometimes my mind doesn't keep up with my mouth. Anyhow, I prefer to use a witch's wheel when it comes to making sigils. And so here is what a witch's wheel looks like. And so this is a page straight out of my Book of Light. And so this is the witch's wheel here. And I actually first came across this idea. This is straight out of, I photocopied this right out of Christopher Penczak's Outer Temple of Witchcraft book. And you can see I made a little note here as to where it's located. Outer Temple of Witchcraft, page 307. And so as you can see, I keep this in a little plastic sheet protector, and that goes in my Book of Light. And I've done a video about my Book of Light if you're interested, and said, ooh, that's kind of pretty. What you got there? So anyhow, this is what I use to make the sigil. And what I do is, the idea behind making sigil out of this, don't worry guys, I got you covered, okay? Hopefully, yeah, you can see it. Okay, so what you do is you start with a word or a phrase or what have you for what you want to manifest. Okay, so at the bottom of the page here, I have written out perseverance. That's what I'm working on this year, okay? So then what you do is you go through your word or phrase and you start crossing off the double letters. So see how there's an E here and an E there, you would cross them out. There's 2 R's, you cross them out. There's actually like a couple of pairs of E's. So you cross out the doubles until you are left with the letters that are just single. So for this particular, for perseverance, the letters that are left are P, S, V, A, N, C. Okay. Then what you do, here's why I keep this in a plastic sheet protector. You can do one of 2 things. You can either use a one of your dry erase markers. That's what they're called. You start with that first letter, okay? And you locate the P, and I'm doing all of this by looking. So here is the P here. And then S is your next letter. So you can either choose to use that Sharpie, or it's not a Sharpie, for goodness sake, don't use a Sharpie, a dry erase marker. That way you can erase this when you're done. So you start with the P and you draw to S, which is over here. Okay. And then you go to V, which is over here. So you can either use the dry erase marker and get that shape that you can then trace over or kind of copy and things like that. Or what I normally do is I will take the piece of paper and see how I have a dot there. I always do a dot at the center or at the start so that I know where I started. Okay, so that I draw it the same way every time. So I take a piece of paper and I put it over this. And this is a little bit harder, but then I have it drawn. Okay, so I do the same thing. There's the P, and of course this is me finding out where the letter is, but it works. It works fine. And so you draw. So this is the 6 points, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the 6 points for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters that I was left with. So now what I have is I have this sigil, as it is now known. This sigil is something that I can now use to help me to manifest perseverance, and I can draw this in all sorts of ways. Okay. I can use this I can put it on, I can use this piece of paper. I can put a candle on top of it and use that as a source of manifestation. I could use this symbol, and if I were a silversmith, for instance, I could etch that into, or somehow make a piece of jewelry that I could wear like as a pendant, like something like this. You know, if I had that kind of talent, which I don't. But I could draw it on a piece of paper and tuck it in my pocket. I could, I do a lot of drawing on flat rocks. I make rune sets and things like that. So I could take this sigil and I could draw it on a rock and carry it around in my pocket to help me to remember what my goals are and things like that. Or what I'm doing this month, because it's fire related, is I take a new candle, and I will clear this candle for all other purposes, from all other purposes, clear it and charge it with the intention of what I want to manifest, which happens to be perseverance. Keep going, and you know, don't let things, don't become, you know, moss or whatever. And so I can take this sigil now and I can draw it on here. And you can use a toothpick to carve into your wax. You could use a pen if you wanted to carve into your wax. Or I have, just because I like to keep things interesting, I guess I should like show you all of this here. I saw this idea from Miss Dorothy Morrison initially. And I was like, well, hell, that's pretty cool. This is just a really nice long hat pin that you take the little protective end off the bottom there, and you've got a pokey. It's a needle. It's not, yeah, it's a needle. It pokes. And so I put some pretty beads on it to make it all cool. And I put a groovy little, can you see him? There we go. He's a little skeleton skull on the tip there. And I will use this as a point to draw. Okay. So, if I'm drawing something, a word or a sigil or whatever into a candle, or, you know, other things that this is useful for, I use this for that purpose. So I am going to, I already drew and charged and all that kind of stuff, the sigil in this. And let me see. The cool thing about something like this is that you don't necessarily see that sigil, but it's actually carved. I guess you can kind of see the lines. That's carved into the candle. And now I'm going to, when I'm done filming this video, I'm going to go put this on my altar and light it with the intent of bringing perseverance into my existence, and, you know, kind of get up the next day and do things all over again. So, so there is my spell work for this month. I'm doing candle magic for this month, along with the sigil. And like I said, this sigil is something that I can now take forward and do lots of other things with. One other thing that I wanted to add was that I did some research as far as some stones and some herbs or plant matter that are good for perseverance. And I kind of hit the books with my own personal correspondence work, and I'm looking at citrine. I actually bought, it's in my purse. I'm carrying it with me. I bought a bigger piece of citrine that I'm carrying around with me that helps with self-determination. So trying to enhance my perseverance. And navy beans and allspice are some a spice and a bean that you can use for perseverance. So I might be doing some charm work. If you're interested in that, let me know. And maybe that'll be, you know, next month's spell work. Next month is Virgo, which is definitely an earth sign. So maybe a charm bag or something like that might be a good thing for next month. So there you go. That's what I'm doing for the month of Leo for this master spell. Now, before I let you guys go, that's it as far as the information for the master spell. So if you want to go now, you can. But I have a little added note that I want to kind of tack on to the end of this video. During meditation recently, I received an instruction, and so I am carrying out my end of the bargain. And I don't know why it was important for me to do this, but it is, and so I'm doing it. And what I was asked to do is I was asked to share with you, whoever you are, you know who you are, my thoughts on abortion. And I don't like to get uber super political and stuff. I don't know. Anyhow, here's how I feel about abortion. I personally do not believe in abortion. I believe that that life starts at conception. And so for me personally, I would not choose to have an abortion. I think that I'm at a point in my life where I probably don't need to worry about that anymore. I mean, I'm kind of getting up there. But I am pro-choice. I don't think that the government has a right to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. And so I have that right. I am a sovereign individual, and I should be able to make medical choices for myself, not the government. So, and to kind of expand on that a little bit more, I understand there's a lot of people that would use the fact that I don't believe in abortion either, unless it's incest or rape. And I would have to say that for me personally, and I've thought a lot about this because the abortion issue has been a hot topic since I was in high school, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I've given a lot of thought about this. If I were a victim of incest or rape, I think it would be a really, really hard thing to do. But I cannot think of a bigger fuck you to the person who wronged me, and had, caused this pregnancy. I can't think of a better to that individual than to turn this awful thing into something positive and to carry that child to term and to allow life and something good to come out of something horrible. Now, do I think that I could raise a child like that? Probably not. I think being real about the situation, I don't think that it would probably be healthy, or there's just a lot of negative things that could happen with that. But by that same token, and always trying to look for like the better side of a situation, there's a lot of good people out there that can't have kids. And so if I found myself in a situation where I couldn't raise a child, then I could darn straight find a good family that could and would be more than happy to raise a child. So that's just kind of expanding on, that a little bit. This is my opinion. And I don't expect anyone to agree with me. I don't expect anyone to be okay with my opinion, because I'm okay with my opinion. And I try to be open when, talking with or listening to people talk about, hot topics like this. And as I said before launching into this, I don't know why I was asked to share this, but I did. I agreed, and I did, and that's what this is. I'm not asking for any, hateful comments because of my opinion or anything else. There was somebody out there that needed to hear my opinions. And I gave them, and now I'm done. If you would like to comment about the rest of the content of this video, then I would be happy to hear that. If you enjoyed this entire video or learned something from it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's great to see the subscribers coming in, and welcome to you all the new and old and all my loves out there. Let's see. If you would like to email me, you can always do so at heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com. And I've got the Instagram, which is at Heart of the Witch's Path. And there's a Facebook page for Heart of the Witch's Path, so kind of check that out too. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for walking the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.